All right, hey guys, welcome. This is a quick review. It'll take about 40 minutes or so to go through what happens after the challenge. So I want to make sure you have all the information you need as we move through this. So please grab yourself some time, grab yourself a cup of coffee or whatever, kick back, relax. We'll go through this real quick. So, first and foremost, what is the most important day of the challenge? Well, typically we speak about that as being the first day of the last day of the challenge. So that would be this coming Monday for you, right? Um, so the day it ends is important. And part of that is because we're kind of taking the training wheels off as far as next steps and things like that, right? So I'm pretty sure most of you have not started this challenge with the hopes that you would lose some weight and then just gain it all back. And obviously, that is not what we want for you. We definitely have the premise of being able to drop 2 sizes in 60 days while eating the foods you love. But beyond that, one of our primary goals of this program is that you never have to diet again. And the way you do that is by learning the habits necessary to be effective and be able to put together the foods and have the habits and activities in place so that you have the strong, energized, powerful body that you need. Sadly, though, 50 to 60% of the people who lose weight in whether it's a challenge or a diet or whatnot, end up putting the weight back on and then some. We don't want that to happen to you, obviously. But there's a couple of physiological components that go into that. I'll cover those here quickly. Just so knowledge is power. Understanding what is going on will help you ensure that you at least recognize the situation as it's being presented, right? So part of it is your body's kind of fighting against you, right? So your body wants to reach a state of homeostasis, which is basically a point of balance of activity and calories and stuff like that. And that homeostasis is not always the healthiest place that you need to be in with respect to body fat, body composition, muscle, those types of things. Those are going to largely be dictated by you and by your activity and what you're choosing to eat, right? So again, focusing on healthier, eat more foods and not focusing or trying to minimize the amount of eat less foods in there. So because our body's kind of working against us in this process, it is kind of like pushing a rock up a hill. I totally recognize how frustrating the process can be. And I'm sure you feel that way and have felt that way in the past as well. So, talking a little bit about dieting, dieting has metabolic consequences. And what I mean by that is the more you diet, the slower your metabolism gets. And the more you put yourself into a deep caloric deficit, the slower your metabolism gets. And the slower your metabolism gets, the harder it is for you to lose weight. So we get into this big cycle of cutting calories to lose weight. We lose the weight, and then we either plateau or we gain it all back, right? And then we try again, and it's a little bit harder, and we try again, and it's a little bit harder. So we've got to overcome those things to move that through effectively. So dieting, again, slows the metabolic rate. We need to fix that. Dieting also activates genes that favor weight regain. Well, that stinks. And then dieting also causes changes to your biology that make it more difficult to lose weight in the future. Kind of like a trifecta of, just not fair, but it is what it is. Let me go through kind of some of the details on that. Again, that's what we're going to cover through this presentation. So, your metabolic consequences of dieting are affected by the severity of the energy deficit. So how many calories are you below your target? Now, when we started this challenge off, we gave you a target. That target was already a deficit. I would have to say about 50% of the people participating in this challenge were targeting themselves even lower than the target we gave them. And I kind of understand the psychology is like, well, if 1,500 calories is good, then 1,200 calories is better. However, that's not the case. And hopefully, we've communicated that to you throughout this process that we want you to hit your target to make sure you're maximizing your metabolic burn, right? Because we want to be able to metabolically burn calories long term, not just be able to lose weight on a diet only to have to face this all over again. How long you've been in a deficit will also be a consequence here. So we've been doing this for 8 weeks, and we're going to talk a little bit what happens in week 9. And then lastly is how frequently deficits are imposed. Are you in a caloric deficit all the time? Are you constantly eating under your maintenance calorie amounts? So the more frequently you sit below your maintenance amounts, the slower your metabolism gets. The slower your metabolism gets, the harder it is to lose weight. So your only response in that situation is to cut more calories. So again, you get into this really downward spiral that is super, super frustrating. Our goal is to kick you out of that cycle. And we do it by basically telling you how to eat the right amount of calories, keeping yourself focused on those targets. So we'll go into that a little bit more. So the problem with most diets is they're designed only to help you lose weight, period. They don't focus you on habits, and they don't have a post-diet plan that is designed to restore your metabolic rate. And again, metabolism is key, guys. Metabolism is where you want it to be. You don't want to be in this constant cycle of diet, regain, diet, regain. You want to be in a metabolic condition so that your body is naturally burning calories, even when you're consuming what you probably think is too much food. All right. So moving through post-diet accelerated weight gain. Here's why your body genetically or physiologically is impacting your process, especially if you've gone through a weight loss, weight gain scenario in the past. And most people, most women especially, by the time you're in your mid-30s, have at least gone through this 2 or 3 times in your lifetime. Some people have gone through it even more frequently than that. The more cycles you go through, again, the harder it is. So let me explain. So pre-diet, we come in with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells are of a certain size. Okay, that's usually why most people start a diet or a challenge, because they are unhappy with the quantity and the size of the fat cells that happen to exist in their body. So next, we go through a challenge. We start to eat better. We start to work out more. We start to make better choices with our food. Interesting thing is you cannot actually get rid of fat cells. Once you have them, they're pretty much yours for life. Now, what you can do is what we see in this picture is shrink those fat cells. We make them go away, not go away. We just make them smaller, which is still a good thing, right? From there, we go into a post-diet scenario or early relapse. And here's where it gets really insidious, guys. So if you regain your weight back too quickly after you do a diet or a challenge like this, you can actually increase the number of fat cells you have on your body. That means you have more that you can't get rid of. Okay, that's a bad situation to be in, and one of the reasons why we don't want you to just stop doing what you've been doing. So here you can see that you have your original fat cells that you had when you started the challenge. Because we've relapsed, they've gotten bigger again, and now we've added more to it. So bad situation, don't want to be there. If we continue to gain weight too quickly after the challenge ends, those original fat cells and the new ones that formed after you abandoned your healthy habits continue to grow. So now we've got more and they're bigger. So bad place to be, right? And the process continues. And again, the more often we go through this process, the more often we are adding additional fat cells to the body. Sorry about that. So aside from the obvious consequences of regaining the weight you work so hard to take off, here's what you really should be paying attention to as we go through this, right? So when your fat cells are full, they regulate your hunger and send signals to your hormones for you to stop eating. Now, if you increase the number of fat cells you have, it becomes more difficult to receive the stop eating signal because each fat cell is less full. Now, in other words, you keep eating because you feel hungry, even though you are gaining fat. That is why people who lose weight often gain more fat than what they started their diet with. All right. So that would be the bad news bears, right? So the first several weeks of your diet or after your challenge are going to be the most important. That's why this Monday is super important, that you have things in place to be as successful as possible. You are the most susceptible to fat regain and fat cell regeneration pretty much over the next 2 weeks. In the process. But there, of course, is good news here as well. Um, so, first, let's go into that, right? How do we maintain your results? So, number one is exercise. You can maintain your results and combat your body's defense mechanisms by exercising. And our second one's going to be reverse dieting. Okay. So, first, let's look at exercise. By now, you know the many benefits of working out 3 times a week. Unfortunately, some people take time off from exercising after the challenge ends, kind of like a reward for their hard work during the challenge. But you don't need to do this. It will set you up for massive regain of body fat. When you stop exercising, you also lose the benefits that exercise has brought you. This seems pretty obvious, but it's important to say. Additionally, we want to make sure we keep our exercise as intense as possible. So the boot camp process, whether you do it with us or you figure something else out, keep it intense. Don't slow down. Don't reduce your activity. You want to make sure you have a combination of strength and cardio to build up and maintain lean muscle mass. So don't just rely on cardio. Cardio is going to reduce the amount of lean muscle tissue on your body. It adds more stress to the body, which will trigger a whole series of cortisol response and everything else. So we don't want to get there. And then the last kind of point here is a participant in general, and this has been studied, that participants who eat more and exercise more after they've gone through a diet tend to gain significantly less weight compared to those who ate more but didn't maintain their exercise. So you're kind of keeping it more in check, even if you are eating in a surplus of food. All right. So let's talk about the nutrition piece. You've probably heard the expression that 80% of your results are going to come from your nutrition and 20% is from exercise. So that's true. But here's another important fact about nutrition and exercise, and they really do go hand in hand. So the percentage may be a little bit offset, because I would argue the point that your workouts actually drive that 80% of the nutrition. And let me explain that. So have you ever had a great workout and found yourself more committed to eating healthy because you felt great, you felt energized, you felt empowered, and you just didn't want to undo it all by eating junk, right? Or maybe have you found yourself in a situation where you skipped a workout and then on top of it, because it's like, I already kind of screwed that up, I'm going to go ahead and give myself permission to eat junk. So you see, when you keep your body moving and you keep yourself motivated to exercise, your workouts actually help drive your compliance to making those better decisions that related to your nutrition. All right. So we want to protect ourselves from these issues and what happens kind of after a challenge. So everybody, I think, has the best of intentions at the end of a challenge of keeping their fitness and their nutrition routine up. But sadly, that's not the case a lot of times. Most people tend to play that finite fitness game, right? And they just kind of, challenge is over, I'm done. And then they slowly slide back to old habits. And again, that leads you back to where you were at prior to this challenge. And that weight gain kind of pops back in. So as you can see here, it's fairly easy to maintain your results if you continue to follow the habits you've adopted over the past several weeks, which is working out, planning and prepping your food, and sticking to your daily caloric budget. So for example, if you created 500 calorie deficit every day while continuing to exercise, you could, in theory, lose 52 pounds of fat in 1 year. Now, everybody's different, so that is like definite back of the napkin math, but it is, more fact than fiction. All right, sounds pretty simple. Unfortunately, what I see happening way too often is people abandon their exercise routines. They cut back on the amount of activity they're getting each day, and then they stop being mindful about their nutrition. And instead of enjoying, maybe a cup of cereal, all of a sudden they're back to filling their favorite bowl with their favorite cereal and maybe eating 3 serving sizes worth. And then if you keep doing that throughout the day, you have, a couple extra goldfish crackers, you're licking the peanut butter spoon after you made the kids sandwiches, you add a little extra mayonnaise on your sandwich, whatever the case may be. All those little nits and gnats can add up to an extra 500 additional calories above your maintenance that you never tracked, you never really thought about, but all of a sudden, boom, there they are. Which you can, as you can see, can have a significant impact on your weight and health over a year's time. Now, this doesn't mean you have to carry a food scale with you everywhere you go. You don't have to give up your favorite foods. It simply means you need to remain as mindful about your fitness and nutrition after the challenge ends as you were during the challenge. So keep working out, learn what a serving size of your favorite food looks like, and continue to make yourself a priority. All right. Protecting yourself from that slow metabolic rate, the genetic issue of favoring weight gain, and the biological stuff. So let's look at that third mechanism, right? So being in a caloric deficit for an extended period of time activates your body's defense mechanisms. You heard me say it before. It slows your metabolism down. When you slow your metabolism down, it gets harder to lose weight. And your natural response is, I need to work out more, I need to cut out more calories, and you get into this weird cycle that just gets frustrating as all heck. So the longer, the more severe that deficit, the more these defense mechanisms kick in, the harder it becomes, which is why it's important not to be in this deep caloric deficit year round. So I want to talk about reverse dieting. So we're going to talk about how you're going to slowly feed yourself more while helping you maintain your results. Reverse dieting, that's a strategy of dieting where calories are increased in controlled manner over time to increase your metabolic rate while minimizing body fat gain. And again, it's all about metabolism, guys. That's what we're trying to turn on, turn up, bring the intensity up on, not the opposite way, right? We don't want to turn metabolism down because we're working against ourselves there. So the purpose is to prevent and reduce the body's defense mechanisms, which increases your metabolic rate so that you can maintain your current body while eating more calories or lose weight more effectively in the future. All right, so we're going to talk about the tortoise and the hare. I'm sure you all know the story. Basically, slow and steady wins the race. The same is true for fat loss and reverse dieting. So we're going to take a look at the hare first. He spends the first few weeks after a challenge, maybe eating pizza, drinking beer, having cookies, other non-nutrient dense foods. In other words, basically abandoning everything that we learned during the challenge and basically going off the rails with the food. Unfortunately, because his metabolism hasn't had time to catch up to his eating habits, he regains that body fat very quickly. And all of a sudden, we're right back where we were, right? This is the stuff we're talking about. Now, the tortoise, on the other hand, knows that it's incredibly important to slowly increase the number of calories he eats so that his metabolism can adapt to increased calories he's eating. With this strategic approach of reverse dieting, the tortoise's body fat remains consistent over time. He gets to eat more calories and raises his metabolism without gaining fat. That's where we want to be, guys. All right. So The 10,000 foot view of your after challenge plan is we're going to work again on your calorie target. So we want to kind of see how you're coming in as we finish up this 8-week challenge and start bringing you up from there. Every 2 weeks, we're going to slowly increment calories up. And the idea is to basically run that through the next 8 weeks or so as we get to January, at which point we can redecide what makes the most sense for you going forward. So we mentioned that it's very critical here, the next 2 weeks. What you do, what you decide to do, how you decide to do it is going to impact how you're able to impact your metabolism, right? This is our goal. So, so we want to increase sustainability. One of the best parts of having more calories in your diet is the fact that you can work in more of your favorite foods into your daily kind of routine and make it more of a lifestyle. Remember, a big part of this is we want to stand the test of time. We don't want to diet again. We just want to be smart, make better decisions, go with those higher investment, more nutrient dense foods more frequently. That sustainability is the key to long-term results. One of the best ways to utilize the additional calories and create a sustainable lifestyle is doing something called calorie cycling. So calorie cycling is a tool used by people that want to kind of manipulate their weekly calories so that there's room for those non-negotiables. Think of it like having a weekly calorie budget instead of a daily budget. So if your daily budget's 1,500 calories, then your weekly would be 10,500. So let's say you want to enjoy 3 to 4 pieces of pizza on Friday night, which comes to about 600 calories. You can spend those extra 600 calories on Friday night by subtracting them from the other 6 days of the week. So Monday through Thursday, you would eat 100 calories less in order to basically apply for your Friday special there. So remember, long-term fat loss, it's all about sustainability. Drastically slashing your calories during the week to save up for a weekend feast is not a sustainable approach. And what does it do? It turns your metabolism down. We want to keep your metabolism fired up all the time. It may make some, I should say, it should take some time maybe experimenting to learn how to use calorie cycling to work for you and your lifestyle. But with time and practice, you'll find that it will help you stay on track towards your goals without you having to feel deprived, without you having to give up the foods you love or the camaraderie that you have with people that you eat the foods you love with. So, and of course, calorie cycling is just an option for you if you want to kind of work on that adjustment. All right. So again, just to reiterate, the worst things you can be doing at the end of this program is stop exercising with intensity, going on and eating whatever the heck you want, and then getting to a place where you have to start over, right? Don't want that. In order to guarantee your results, there are some very simple things. You need to plan out your food. You need to prep your food. And we want you to work out 3 times a week, period. It's simple. It's boring. You do it every week, and the process will take care of itself. It's actually simple, stupid, and nobody believes that they can actually do it. We'll talk a little bit about the mindset game here, and how, if you decide to stay with whether the enhanced coaching or the whole boot camp program, we are here with you every step of the way to make sure that happens for you. Okay, so mindset's key. Like most things, the hardest hurdle we have to overcome is the hurdle that sits between the 6 inches between our ears. So it is that kind of mindset aspect of it. And we want to make sure we're addressing those for your success. So results don't last. Who you are does, right? So one of the most powerful things that happens during the challenge is identifying who you are. Your identity changes. You become the person who preps your food. These are things that we want you to be. You're the person who schedules your workouts as can't miss appointments. You're the person who drinks your water every single day. You're the person who tracks your food. You're the person who tosses those excuses to the side, right? Your identity is the thoughts, it's the actions, it's the beliefs you hold for yourself. So in life, you get what you think you're worth and what you think you deserve. So, do you believe that you are worth the effort it takes to be successful? There's work involved here. There's no doubt about it, but you have to believe it for yourself that you can do this. And many people overlook this fact, right? But they go around how they identify with themselves. And when it comes to your health and fitness, it's absolutely critical to have a very strong belief that you are a healthy, well-rounded, strong, and energetic person for you to have those results. And if taking care of yourself is part of your identity, you will do it year round, not just during a challenge. And you'll do it when it's busy. You'll do it when it's crazy. You'll do it on the weekends. You'll do it on the holidays. You'll do it at a party. Like, that is where your mindset will take you if you truly believe I am a fit person. It may not happen if you have the words, I'm trying to be a fit person. So take it like from this little example of two people that are offered a cigarette. And person one basically says, hey, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Person number two says, no thanks, I don't smoke. All right. So the person who believes I don't versus I can't is 8 times more likely to be successful. I don't is an identity statement in this situation. So apply that to what we've learned. Do you struggle to meal plan? Are you trying to meal plan? Or I meal plan? Are you struggling to meal prep? Are you trying to meal prep? Or no, I'm the person, I do meal prep. That's what I do. That's how I get success. You get the idea, right? Do you struggle with getting to your workouts? Or you say, you know what? I schedule 3 workouts a week. Those are my no cancel. I must go no matter what appointments for myself. That's what I do for myself. That's how I'm successful, right? So to say I'm the type of person who wants this is very different than saying I am this. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, the more motivated you will be to maintain the habits that are associated with it. So if you don't want to miss workouts, you need to become a person that doesn't miss workouts. Think about it. Research clearly shows that once a person believes in a particular aspect of their identity, they are more likely to act in alignment with that identity. It's a choice. It's what we say in our head. So your brain goes to work to prove your beliefs are true. So let it sink in for a minute. If you believe you can be successful after the challenge, your brain will work to make it come true. The opposite is also true. If you don't believe you can be successful after the challenge, your brain will work to make that come true also. The neat thing is, guys, you get to choose what you believe. Nobody else chooses it for you. Not your kids, not your husband, not your wife, not your parents, not your uncle, not your Aunt Nancy or whoever. It's you and you alone that makes that decision. You choose each and every day, each and every meal. All right. You can't achieve your new life if you continue to hang on to your old story. So all of you have an old story and an old identity that frankly must get changed or will continue to pull you back to what that story details for yourself, myself included. I have 2 older brothers. I grew up as kind of a short, chubby kid, and my brothers reminded me of that each and every day. And it still is one of those things that is really tough for me not to identify with, right? But I've made that conscious decision that says, no, you know what? I am healthy. I am strong. I'm not a fat, chubby kid. Ha, I'm not a kid, but Anyway, behind every system of actions is a system of beliefs, is what that boils down to. There are beliefs and assumptions that shape the system, and an identity that falls behind those habits. So it's hard to change your habits if you don't change the underlying beliefs that led you to that past behavior. Those underlying beliefs are your story. So you have a new goal and you have a new plan, but if you haven't changed who you are, if you haven't rewritten your story, it's going to be really, really hard to achieve that new goal, the new plan. So you can't achieve your new life if you continue to hang on to your old story. So shifting your identity requires you to be intentional with the words you use, the words you choose. Most people go through life adapting to their old identity, and it's very easy to let your allegiance to it impact the ability to change. Many people walk through life in a cognitive slumber, blindly following the norms attached to their identity. So you need to believe you can do it. Otherwise, the effort won't be worth it. So you won't do it. This goes a long way, guys. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in your reason why it's important for you to be healthy and strong and energetic, and why you want that for yourself. Is it all about aesthetics? I sure hope not. Like, it's great to look great in a bathing suit. It's great to look great in jeans. But you know what's even better than that is being able to walk out on the street with a smile on your face, pride in your heart, and just walking and oozing confidence. That is a beautiful place to be. And that doesn't matter what size you wear, by the way. So you need to believe you can do it. Otherwise, the effort won't be worth it. So you won't do it, just to reiterate. When you become the person who meal preps, who tracks their food, who works out, who drinks their water, you do these things regardless of the result. You do it when it's busy. You do it on the weekends. You do it on the days that are the most crazy. When you're there, then you know that you have arrived, because the easy days get way, way easier. All right. So we're going to look at a two-step process to shape your identity. The first is to decide the person you want to be. Next, you need to prove it to yourself with small wins. So let's look at who you want to be. What do you stand for? What are your principles and your values? Who do you wish to become? Hold a vision in your mind of the person physically you will be 12 months from now when you apply these habits. And what's your new story? Like, what's the story that aligns? It says, hey, when I'm here 12 months from now, these are the things that I put in place for myself, the habits that I continue to put in place to make sure that I was as successful as possible and I'm as healthy as I can be. Next, you need to prove to yourself that you are this person, right? So just saying it's not enough. This isn't the wish or the secret or any of that kind of stuff. You actually have to put in the work to make it happen. So every action that you take is a vote for the person who you want to become. And when you keep promises to yourself, you increase your self-confidence. So when you track your food, you become someone who tracks their food. When you get your workouts in, you become someone who doesn't miss their workouts. When you plan and prep your food, you become someone who plans and preps their food. This is why maintaining habits that we've been working on during the challenge really can't stop if your goals are true and you're true to your goals. Every day you continue these habits is a vote for the person you desired to become. So again, after challenge, just real quick, the summary, we're going to help you on the targets. We're going to keep the accountability, the support going for you. Everything continues in the direction that we've been going over the last 8 weeks so that you can get to a point where you, A, never have to diet again, B, get that metabolism fired up so your body starts working for you, not against you. So it becomes more like pushing that rock down the hill instead of up the hill, right? That's where we want to get to. All right, I got one more thing here for you. A letter to yourself. I think this is a super powerful psychological thing. Most people, again, who signed up for this challenge and do these types of programs, they don't do it because they want to lose weight and gain it all back. I'm sure that's true for you. And myself, the coaches, we want to help you keep the promises you made to yourself when you started the challenge. So we're going to spend the next few minutes having you basically grab a piece of paper, or I'll send you a template for this, write a letter to yourself. And as you'll see on the document, if you use the one we send you, that it's going to basically have you set a goal for yourself that you'd like to achieve in the next 90 days and the process you're going to use to reach that goal. So we've, up to this point, discussed 3 things every successful challenger does during and after the challenge. Those are going to be meal planning, meal prepping, and working out at least 3 times a week. Those are your first 3 process goals. Now go ahead and add the other steps you'll take to reach your 90-day goal. Maybe you've had great success tracking your meals every day, and that's an important part of the process for you that you need to follow. Maybe it's self-development or journaling or getting up before the rest of the family is awake so that you can meditate. I don't know what it is for you. You got to find that thing that's going to work for you, but get it down, write it on paper, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to fill all that out, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on that envelope, put your address on that envelope. You're going to address it to yourself, and then bring it into the studio. We'll mail it back to you 90 days from now to get you that reminder in there. Okay. So it's a little micro commitment to yourself. It's putting it on paper. You're going to be surprised what you see 90 days down the road. All right. So again, our focus for you is to basically help you keep your promises to you. That's kind of the end of the presentation here. Reach out if you have any questions. Obviously, we'd love to have you continue on the enhanced coaching program as we move into week 9 and beyond, as we move into the holidays, as we move into 2021. Hope you guys have a lovely day. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. And again, reach out if you have any questions.